course, Evil Geniuses returning to the LCS, and they've made a splash. This is a team that you could absolutely see competing for the top levels of the LCS this season. You have Kumo, Svenskeren, Bang, Zazel, and a new addition, Jizuke. When you look at that lineup, Emily, it looks pretty good for a team that's just entering the LCS, starting from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a very interesting lineup. I think what they're going to be relying on is the fact that due to Svenskeren swapping between LCS and Academy for, I mean, he was their starting jungler this past year, but previously he would swap with Blabber, right, between C9 and C9 Academy. And that's where Kumo was, and Zazel was on the main squad. So I think what you're really looking at is you're relying on that top jungle support synergy as like the core of the team. Jizuke pickup is interesting. I know sources have told ESPN that they were in a bid for Chovy. Again, a little nod to how the Griffin players being available really affected the way that people were making their teams, and the fact that they may have delayed some signings to reach out to other players just to see if they could get one of those Griffin players. Jizuke is really interesting. He's coming off of kind of a down year compared to his 2018 with Vitality, which I think was kind of his like massive coming out party to the international audience anyway. So he is kind of the question mark for me, not because of lack of talent, but just due to inconsistencies in his play over the past year. If this roster ends up working out, it could be incredibly good. I am really happy to see Kumo getting a starting spot because I think he deserves it. So I hope he does really well in LCS. And again, like, this is one of those rosters I look at on paper and I'm like, this could either be really, really good or it could end up being a bit of a disaster. So we'll see how it works.
Let us know in the comments below how you think this roster will fare. Will Evil Geniuses be a force in 2020 in the LCS, or will they fizzle out and occupy the bottom of the standings? Let us know in the comments below. By the way, you mentioned Chovy. Obviously, some players leaving Griffin, finding new homes. We have a live tracker on ESPN.com/esports. That is your one source for every single move that has happened in League of Legends free agency. Again, you can find that at ESPN.com/esports. Let's end on this, Emily. When you look at the changes that you have seen for teams in the LEC and the LCS, let's start in Europe. Are there any rosters on paper that you can truly see compete against G2 for that top spot next season?
I'm going to say no, just because I think G2 is, if they continue their run that they had this year, and I don't think the meta should adversely affect them that much because they've proven to be a very flexible team. That's, you know, one of their greatest strengths. I don't see a team contending with G2. I think they're indubitably a world-class team. Cue, like, months later, people coming back to this video and being like, you were wrong completely. I think the roster that I'm looking at to possibly contend with G2 will be Origin, because again, like, on paper, you can see that roster working out really, really well, and I'm excited to see them in action. Yeah, but I think in terms of Europe, G2 is really hard to beat. They're an incredibly good team, and I was really impressed with their 2019, despite the fact that they didn't win Worlds.
Same question in the LCS with Team Liquid.
Ooh, this one I think is more interesting because you have a lot of weird rosters in LCS right now, and I also think that despite the fact that Team Liquid were definitely the top team in North America last year, they were a bit shakier, in my opinion, than G2, despite the fact that G2 did have some shaky best-of-5s in playoffs, especially in summer. And Team Liquid is kind of known for the same thing. The big thing with TL is that they actually changed one of their positions. So we're going to see how much of an impact Xmithie leaving has on that team, because I think that Broxa is a very different jungler. I like Broxa a lot, so I'm actually really excited that he's coming to North America because it means I get to talk to him more often about jungling. But I'm really curious to see how he does on TL, and I think that's the big difference, and that's why I'm hesitant to point out any one roster because I think there have been so many changes in North America that no one roster on paper really stands out to me, and we're still having teams fill in positions. But the big question to me is, can TL continue to be that force? Because I have confidence in G2 because of their dominating performances in 2019, the fact that they retained their entire lineup, the fact that one of their trademarks was flexibility. But I can't say the same thing about Team Liquid. So for me, it's more, can Team Liquid continue to have the stranglehold on the LCS that they've had over the past 2 years?
Well, it's been a fascinating free agency season in League of Legends. One more time,
it has.
Every single move you can check out in one spot. Our free agency live tracker is available at espn.com/esports. Emily Rand joining us from Los Angeles. Enjoy the rest of free agency, and we will have continued coverage.